So this is the TRINOVA foam cannon, and as you guys know, as a general rule, I just have mixed feelings about foam cannons in general. Let me say this. When people give you oversimplified answers in the detailing world, particularly about tools like this that are relatively newer and relatively untested, I would caution you to say yay or nay to these things. So in other words, sometimes I like foam cannons, sometimes I don't like foam cannons, but here I just want to review the TRINOVA foam cannon because it is very inexpensive. I believe it's around $30, and apparently a lot of people like it. So I'll go ahead and rip all of this open, and of course you get directions, but I don't need those. You got the kind of reservoir tank here. Then you've got, of course, the nozzle and the hose. These generally come unattached. You're gonna have to attach it underneath here. So very simply, that's my whistling improv. There we go, bam. And of course, we're gonna fill this puppy up, and it's gonna screw on very simply. And there you go. So let's go ahead and put it on the car, and really we're just gonna see how this guy does on all of the different settings that it has. By the way, I'm using a Ryobi electric pressure washer that I believe is 2000 PSI, 1.2 GPM. There it is. So here we go. I always like to start when I'm using a new foam cannon on the low foam or no foam kind of setting. So basically I just twist the nozzle all the way to the negative end or the low end, and you're gonna find that it doesn't shoot a bunch of foam out. Like you can see, it's just gonna hit like basically with water. There might be some suds in there because again it pulls a little bit out of there, but apart from that, it's just important to pre-rinse the car before you actually use a foam cannon, because again that water is gonna help not only lubricate everything but also loosen things up at a certain level before the foam actually gets onto the car. Now, when you're ready to use the foam setting of this foam cannon, of course you twist it basically all the way left, and it's going to produce a lot of foam. Now, one of the things I was testing here is I'm using a foam soap. I'm not gonna say what it is yet, but I'm using a foam soap that is not actually dedicated for foam cannons. It is just a regular traditional car wash soap, okay? But it is extra foamy, like that's how they're marketing it, is extra foam soap. But again, it's not supposed to go into a foam cannon. So my question was like, how much foam will it produce if I put it into a foam cannon? And apparently it produces a lot. You guys can see it definitely produces a ton of foam. Very, very nice. The application is like seamless. And as a general rule of thumb, you'll notice that if you've ever compared a gas pressure washer with an electric pressure washer, particularly with a foam cannon, the gas pressure washer generally is going to produce a more significant level of foam because you have, well, more pressure, more air and water at a level being pushed through basically the same size nozzle, and it's going to make it more sudsy because of that. But with an electric pressure washer, not only you have like the safety feature of it, you're not gonna strip the paint, but also it's just more than you need when you're dealing with a foam cannon. It's like you don't need the extra power, but maybe you want the extra suds. But definitely a ton of suds with this foam cannon. And again, being able to change the setting up here very simply and it actually work, I can wash off the foam and the suds without having to take the foam cannon off, without having to disconnect it and only use the pressure washer for the water. I can again twist it so that the suds are basically zero, and then it's just gonna shoot water out, and that way it just makes my life a bit simpler as a pro detailer. I don't have to do these extra steps. I can wash it and rinse it and foam it again and again with the foam cannon attached the entire time. Definitely super thick suds, like drippy suds, if that makes sense. And of course, one of the main purposes, not the only purpose, but one of the main purposes of a foam cannon is to quote unquote encapsulate the surface dirt, and as the suds fall off the paint, the dirt would, essentially fall off the paint, and as you rinse it with a high pressurized source of water with a pressure washer, again, as those suds encapsulate that dirt, it's going to push it off the paint when you rinse it. Now, exactly what level that that happens or how true that is up for debate, in my opinion, and up for an argument. But detailers will defend foam cannons until the day they die. So you guys can also see that it does a very good job at conserving the water and the soap solution that's in the reservoir. Probably better than most foam cannons that I've used thus far, actually. You guys can see, like, after the first application, second application, it's not using a ton. There's still half or around half left in the tank, and it works very well in that sense. I'm not having to refill it and go at it again and refill it and do it again. Definitely super thick suds. I love the wide mouth because it makes it very easy to pour solution in, fill it up, rinse it out, all that stuff. The settings nozzle up here, or the settings, what would I call it, knob on the top here where you can lower or increase the amount of suds, definitely works very well. I will note, however, it really doesn't have an in-between. In other words, if you were to put this settings knob right in the center, you're not going to get half foamy suds, half water. You're going to get basically just water. Okay, so until you twist this knob all the way to the foam side, you're not going to get really any foam out. That's really not a big deal because there's not really any case that I could think of where a detailer would want to do half foam, half water. I do it sometimes just to experiment, but when you're professionally detailing and trying to get the maximum use out of your tools and your products, you're probably just going to go ahead and do the whole foam anyways. You're not going to try to put it halfway, so I wouldn't put that as a con necessarily. So the first thing that you're going to notice with this foam cannon is, number one, it is very simple to use, very easy to attach, just like every other foam cannon. Again, I've been using this Ryobi 2000 PSI pressure washer, which I really like because it doesn't pull a bunch of electricity from the house, so it never skips on me or makes it difficult. Another big plus about this foam cannon is the wide mouth that it has, because it's very easy to put any sort of solution into it because it's very open, all right? It's very easy to pour things in. I don't have to use a funnel or anything like that. All in all, the TRINOVA foam cannon is absolutely like top of foam cannons that I've used. It's not necessarily number one, but it's definitely up there. So there's the TRINOVA foam cannon. I love it. I'm gonna keep using it. It's absolutely fantastic. If you'd like to get your hands on this tool or the soap that I use that I did not reveal, I will hook up a link to both of these things in the description box below that'll take you right to Amazon, where you can buy it from Amazon. I'll also hook up the Ryobi electric pressure washer that I've been using because, again, I particularly like this pressure washer because it doesn't pull a bunch of electricity and it never strips a breaker. So those three things, the TRINOVA foam cannon, the electric Ryobi pressure washer, and the soap that I used here will all be hooked up with Amazon links below. Click the show more button. It'll drop down the description box and you can see all those links. Definitely use my links if you do want to buy any of this stuff because it does give this channel a small commission, but it helps me to continue putting out content just like this. So as always, if you're new to the Wilson Auto Detailing community and you love everything auto detailing like I do, then, well, subscribe because this is good content. And as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I will see you guys in the next video.